Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Build the Boss podcast. Woo! The podcast that is dedicated to helping you achieve success in life, become the best version of yourself, and reach your max potential. I cannot believe that it is here, episode 20. And if you were to count it as like 4-week lapses, we have officially completed 5 months of the podcast. That's crazy. That's crazy. Episode 20. Wow. A fifth of 100. That's crazy. My God. I just want to say a huge thank you for all of the positive reinforcement and all of the love and all of the encouragement for getting us so far. It's crazy to imagine how much of, how much progress we've made, and the fact that we're building such an incredible community is unreal. And the amount of gratitude I have for you guys, really, you guys, thank you so much. And really, words cannot describe. And as cliche as it sounds, I'm sorry, but it's just, oh my God, you guys really, really motivate me to keep on going in life, even on the tough days. So I really, really appreciate it. And, I am so, so grateful for you guys, and the fact that we have been able to build this community. And, the biggest part of having a podcast is really, the fact that you can communicate with your listeners, but like, you can communicate your message without having, it's hard sometimes, not having that social interaction and not having the ability to film videos and stuff. But I really just, it just means so much. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. So thank you guys for all of the love, all of the support. If you haven't followed, make sure to follow. Are you sleeping? Build the Boss podcast on Insta. Lots of good info to help you on your personal development journey and your self-discovery journey, and lots of inspirational quotes. And make sure to share the podcast with a friend so that we can grow the community. And also, don't forget to drop a review, because that's helping your girl out on Spotify. Because when Spotify sees that Build the Boss is doing well, it helps to promote it to more people. And the more people we get on their self-discovery journeys, the better, because the more people that are becoming the best version of themselves, the better of a world that we have. That was a very long intro compared to normal, but you know what? It's fine. We are going to stay totally authentic AF. Today we gonna be talking about something, okay, that we all are well, not all, most of us are insecure about. Perfectionism, baby. Woof. I gotta get some music in there, perfectionism. Oh, woo, gives me the shivers. It's been so ingrained into us. That's the thing. And today we're going to be talking about how Your perfectionism is killing the progress that you are trying to make, and how perfectionism can basically be the enemy to productivity. Yeah. So this topic, oh my god, I actually am very, very insecure about this. But yeah, I feel like lots of people struggle with this, especially, um, with family members. There's this tendency, this constant pressure. Everything needs to be golden. And like when I was younger, I had kind of come up with this, like I had not manifested, but I had created this vision in my brain of something that I aspired to be called the golden child. That was essentially what everything my family and my culture and just everything in general, everything in general, but just society as a whole deemed perfect. And I feel like society is so, like, I mean, what I mean by society is just like the world in general. It's so good at like imposing this idea of what the ideal life looks like. But really, at the end of the day, if you're living a life that isn't the life that you want, isn't a life that is gonna fulfill you and give you happiness, you can be like a flippin' millionaire, live in a flipping mansion, but like if you're not happy and if you're not fulfilled and you're miserable in that flippin' mansion and bring it back, you aren't wearing your pink bow, like, what's the point? And really, if you want to achieve the life that you want, you got to really do some deep diving as to what will give you the most joy. As cliche as it sounds, and I'm saying this again because it sounds cliche, like, but really, you gotta really think in your mind. And really, for me, it's usually after meditating when I'm really able to focus on just what feels good, what feels ideal, what is your gut instinct screaming to you. And if you are able to manifest this, obviously you aren't gonna get there just salakadoo, magic boo, bibbidi bobbidi boo. It's not like your fairy godmother's gonna come. And so you gotta develop this growth mindset and create this almost like mission for yourself to towards that goal of yours, towards that sense of fulfillment that you so desperately want. And it's so easy to fall into this like routine of always like settling for what's quote unquote normal and almost mediocrity in a way. But once you are able to manifest, not man I keep on using this word, but yeah, really envision and visualize. That's the better word to say. See, embracing the imperfections, embracing the authenticity. Once you are able to figure out what exactly you want, find that clear direction, you really got to start working towards it. And when it's not picture perfect, when the process isn't picture perfect, when you get rejection, when you get people constantly telling you to quit back, and that you're not I'm gonna be flat out honest that you're not worthy of that. That it's not normal. That's weird. You gotta really remember that it's not gonna be perfect. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard. But if you want the life that you want, really, and if you want to feel that sense of peace, because at the end of the day, we humans are always trying to find peace. And the thing with perfectionism is that society always is screaming at us what is quote unquote normal. And we think, oh, if we're accepted by society and everything is perfect, you know, we'll get that sense of fulfillment. But no, like you could be living the life that society is deeming as perfect, but you're not gonna feel good. You're gonna wake up every single morning feeling dreadful, feeling miserable AF, and feeling like a POS. And so the thing is, I've been listening to Dr. Huberman. He's this neurobiologist, incredibly intelligent man. And he describes how in order for the brain to learn to its max ability, you need to have failure along the way. And how, you know, if you want something to work to its best ability, like for example, he explains neuroplasticity, so basically learning and growing and stuff in the brain. And he explains how in order for your brain to be able to develop that neuroplasticity to the best of its ability, you got to remove the reward of success occasionally. And so really you got to get comfortable with failure. And you know, the fear of failure and feeling comfortable and always feeling success, it's so good at limiting our potential in a way and like preventing us from continuing. But at the end of the day, failure, I I used to be a crazy hard perfectionist. And you know, perfectionism, if you think about it, being a perfectionist isn't really a thing. Which sounds weird, but it's true because perfectionism is just essentially feeling insecure about yourself and not wanting to mess up. So, like I struggled with this for a really long time, and I'm coming from my personal experience. And you know, now it's gotten to the point where my first thought is immediately negative. But now that I've shifted my perspective to the fact that, you know, I'm not in control of my first thought, but I'm in control of my second thought, I kind of started celebrating my failures because from failure, there's always a lesson. And with failure, it can get really difficult to keep moving forward, like I said. But when you give yourself permission to almost embrace your failure in a way, you'll start to grow through that failure, through that tough time, and really be successful. And so the thing that's hardest though is when you start comparing yourself with others, because when you see others succeed, especially, and you're not succeeding, it almost, it's like a jab to the stomach, a jab to your self-love, a jab to the all of the progress that you've made. But instead, you should really focus on your own journey, but secondly, be proud of that person for succeeding, because the world works this way where the more that you wish the worst for someone else, the worse that is going like, the worse your life is going to be, the more miserable your life's going to be. And it's almost like you experience FOMO in a way. I know FOMO's more on social media, but like, stop comparing yourself, because many people feel like they just need to keep up. But this type of comparison, it's almost like violence against yourself, because you're abandoning your truth and you're forgetting your own standards of what a good life is. I mean, not all comparison is bad in some ways, because sometimes comparison can help motivate you and inspire you to get out of your comfort zone and face your fears and overcome those challenges. But when you're looking at it from that perspective, it's always important to reconnect with your own standards and what you've deemed as quote unquote ideal, and take time to really self-reflect and get to know yourself from that trap, because you don't want to fall into the trap of spiraling into the same bad habits of comparison being this evil, hurtful monster that it can be. Yeah, so with perfectionism, it can really be tough. It can be real tough, because our brain, the thing is, it's our brain, it's our brains, our monkey brains are so negative. But having the self-discipline, this is where if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, I highly encourage you to listen to them. And really, it's about getting to know yourself and what triggers that feeling of insecurity when you fail. And you gotta create almost like a mission manifesto to guide you through each and every obstacle. And really, it's so hard, because we've always, especially when you grow up with family standards always being perfect, that can be really, really hard. And it's because during childhood, that's when your brain is developing most. And so it can be really hard when you develop that insecurity that everything has to be a specific way, and everything's got to be perfect. And you really gotta do some deep diving and healing of that inner child within you. And sometimes it can be hard. I keep on saying this, but it's really true, especially when you are. The thing with perfectionism is, once you're so ingrained in it, the minute you have a single setback, you feel like a POS and don't feel like continuing. And the thing with perfectionism is that it's kind of hot and cold. So if you feel motivated, if you feel productive, you get the work done. But the minute you feel like you're lacking that sense of motivation, you're lacking that excitement, that almost that urge to work, you you don't want to work and you're setting yourself back. And with perfectionism, there's always the fact that you're thinking that you're constantly supposed to be productive, which is not true. Not true. Breaking news. We should not be grinding 24/7. You need some time to rest. Because when you rest, you're gonna continue so much more efficiently and so much more productively. So with comparison, I don't want this episode to be too long, but the 3 principles I highly recommend is with perfectionism: A, stop comparing; B, this is totally not in order of what I just said, but see, we're staying authentic AF, no script whatsoever. I've said that so many times during this podcast, and it's okay. So no comparison whatsoever. Be proud of others, get inspiration and motivation from them, and learn from your mistakes, as hard as it sounds. And I know it's easier said than done, but really, it's a lot of deep diving and a lot of self-reflection, which brings me to my next point. Determine what gives you the most fulfillment and happiness in your life. And finally, give yourself some time to rest, because with perfectionism, perfectionism is poison, and you do not need to be productive 24/7. Breaking news, you can take breaks, you can chillax, and that's actually gonna help you in the long term. That is about it in terms of perfectionism. I feel like with perfectionism, there is so much you can get into. I might do another episode on it in the future where I basically just rant about perfectionism, but I don't know. You know, when you're truly trying to build the boss within, it's really important that to realize that failure is part of the journey, and that everything doesn't need to be perfect, and that you are setting yourself back by doing so. And, figure out what your passion is, what you love, and what makes you feel the most fulfilled. Alrighty. That's about it. So thank you guys so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure to follow the podcast, Insta at Build the Boss Podcast. Make sure to share with a friend. And also, don't forget to participate in Shout Out for Shares if you haven't already. There is a limit though, so just FYI. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and see ya next Monday.